It is continuing coverage of spring football here in 2025 for Saluki football, and I always feel protected when this guy's around. Noah Fenske joins us here in our studio as we continue to talk about this Saluki football team, and specifically on the offensive side. Fenske, it's good to see you, man. How's spring ball treating Noah Fenske so far?
Definitely treating me good. Definitely feeling the knees and the elbows a little bit more going into my 7th year. But really, it's only been – this would be my 3rd or 4th spring ball. So my first year, we didn't have spring ball because of COVID. And then my 2nd year, I had transferred early in spring ball. So I only had done a few practices. And then I did it my first year at Colorado, 2nd year at Colorado now. So, yeah, this will be my – 4th, I believe. So it's been good. The guys are moving. Just the energy about practice has just been really just process-driven, day by day, not letting anything get too high, not letting anything get too low, and just, being out there with the boys and just building that camaraderie, not just in the O-line room, but like as a team.
We spotlighted your journey, I think, pretty well, and what it meant for you to come back last year. And it meant so much to you to get out there and play consistently, and yet you still had some adversity to go through on the field, as well as this team. How have you guys, Fenske, especially with you being such a key leadership piece of this group, how have you come face-to-face with what were issues last year? No doubt the injuries and the adversity, that's definitely a fair point to bring up, but still, you guys as a team had high goals and weren't able to reach them.
Yeah, I think early on, just within the leadership committee, we really talked about it being not only top down but bottom up too. We battled a ton with injuries last year, as anybody who follows our program would know. And I think the biggest thing was we were exposed to a lack of depth, and that. Our O-line, besides me being out a couple games and, figuring out our right side a little bit, we were relatively pretty healthy. Just, really the main thing is the top-down, bottom-up, just focusing every day process. We can't worry about the season right now. We've got to just, tomorrow's Spring Ball 7, and we have to go out there and we have to focus on just getting better that day.
You guys as an offensive line group, what's been encouraging throughout the winter conditioning to now in the spring? I mean, as we're talking almost halfway through now, through spring practice, Noah, what's been most encouraging?
I really think the energy at practice and just collectively as a group, we want to be better. We're a group that, never gets a spotlight, and just having the type of guys that we have in our room right now who are just process-driven. I think of, not only guys like me, but Cam Dye and Derek Harden, who D Hart especially has been really motivating for me, just knowing everything that he's gone through with his knee injuries and with his pops. Having a guy like him who kind of has dealt with every adversity possible as a college football player, and he comes out every single day with an incredible energy to himself, and he's, always trying to make somebody else better, trying to be helpful, always a positive guy. It's hard to not get better when there's a guy like that in your room.
How do you guys as an offensive line group, I mean, it's a cohesive unit. You guys have to be hand in hand. How would you really describe that group, Noah, and what you guys are continuing to work towards here in the spring?
Yeah, just really being a brotherhood, going out to practice like a flock of birds and, being together all the time. We've had a bunch of times this offseason. I made breakfast one day. Marcelo, who had to leave because of personal reasons, he had lunch. Derek had a lunch. Just getting together on the weekend and doing productive things that are good for us, where we can spend time together and really hang out and just be close as a group, I think has been really instrumental in moving it forward and not leaving anyone behind.
One thing that's been clear being out there at spring is you look at all the different quarterbacks, DJ, Jake, E.T., whoever gets that opportunity, There's a lot of speed that
Yeah.
those guys have. I mean, how would you describe the speed of not just the quarterback room, but maybe even some other of the skilled positions there on offense that we're just starting to figure out and see who could be really some key contributors?
ET's a young guy that got hurt last year, but man, he's fast as a cheetah out there. He is like just having him be there, and like what he can do to make us right when we're wrong. Um, like, Jake is actually not like Jake might be the slowest one, but he's quick too.
Yeah.
And DJ obviously is very quick and is like very elusive in the run game. So having those guys back there who can really make us right when we're wrong is kind of a nice thing to have because with the way D linemen are today and how quick they are, it's nice to know that we've got a guy back there that can make us right if we fall off a block.
There's so much versatility that when you got here, I believe so many were like, man, Fenske can help us in so many areas. And primarily here in the spring, you've been at center.
Yeah.
How has that been literally? Your hand is touching the football at all times to at least start plays. How has that impacted you this spring just in terms of areas of focus for you and how it's made you continue to build that versatility that you always bring?
Yeah, I mean, just being a guy that I can play all 5 positions on the O line, but really center, you are like you said, your hand is on the ball, and the direction of the play is on you, and having really that responsibility to lead the offense in that aspect has been like really good for the development of my game. Learning the plays deeper, really understanding where everything's going because I'm the one who's telling everyone what to do. Has helped me tremendously. And, at tackle, there's a lot of space, and at center, there's no space. In fact, you're usually the furthest one up on the ball. So having the ability to block someone in space and the ability to block someone close up has been really good.
And the communication piece,
Yeah.
right? I know when, look, so much gets put on a quarterback's plate, as it should, being
Yeah.
a leader, but take the fans through for as much as you can of how much mentally the center is involved and what all things you have to point out to when you're in that position.
Yeah, I mean, we're like basically when the quarterback calls the play, and then we go off the blocking scheme that I decide to run on that play. So if we're going, basic, if I'm setting the first combination on the O line, the rest of the combinations between the guards, tackles, tight ends, they all come off of me. Wherever we are pointing in the pass protection, the running back's got the other guy. Quarterback knows who he's hot off of. So having somebody in the middle who can communicate that well really helps the offense move fluidly.
One of the things I enjoy about being out at spring practice is, of course, being able to see my good friend, Dan Clark, Coach Clark, your
Yeah.
position group. He gives this rough exterior, he's going to crack jokes on you, all that kind of stuff. But really, he's kind of a softie. Won't there be, some ways where you can describe him in that way, too, at
Yeah,
times? He's got that rough exterior, but, don't let that fool you now.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a big teddy bear, And there we go, Curry. Just so you know, we got all 3 words you asked me to get on there. Yeah, he's been really helpful in my development. Just being able to, every day. He's a yeller, but you can't really look into that too much. He cares really deeply about the guys, and that was a big thing. Like I said earlier, having the guys hang out together, and not just some of the guys hang out together and some of the other guys hang out together. No, all of us are in there, and he's really been crucial in that and leading us in that way. And he's really helpful. On days where we're in here early, he's getting up and he's actually making pancakes and stuff so we can at least have some food before we go out to practice. So, he likes to act all tough. But like I said, he's a big teddy bear.
No, there's no doubt about that. We can fact check that, Dan Clark. As we kind of get you on your way here, Noah, no doubt you're going to be a guy. You mentioned Derek Harden, some of those seniors that when you're on that O-line position, just because of the physicality you gain throughout the years and the experience factor is important. But some of the young guys that are continue to mature and mold into those roles, who are some of those guys that have really stood out this spring to you?
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys have done a really good job. Blaine Halley's done really good. Jimmy Lansing has like really taken a big step in my opinion, just from where he was a year ago and motivation wise and how he comes into the building every single day. Oyster Friday, he was a guy who basically like kind of had to almost beg his way onto the team and work, and he's basically every year is like you'll never make it, but he is like keeps inching his way towards, when I'm gone, like being a guy who can come in and play, and just because like it means a lot seeing a guy like be that way, like having kind of that story where he may you never know, he's a walk-on kid, but he comes out and works hard every single day. You never have to ask him to work hard. He's never had a lazy bone in his body. So when I first got here, he was like 250 pounds. He's like 280 now, and there's not a lot of room to put weight on him, but he grinds hard, man, and he pushes me, and he's got to be a technician with his size, so that really helps with me, because if he's got to be a technician, that means I've got to be a technician too.
Look, I know it's so much of a team perspective, and you guys do a really good job of focusing on team goals and nothing selfishly. But if you had to say, Noah, what are things that you're working on from a personal standpoint that if you shore them up, if you make those goals and you achieve them, the team goals are going to come too?
Yeah, I think for me, just being really process oriented, not worrying about anything other than that. What does today bring me? No matter how I feel, how do I show up at practice? How do I lead the guys today? What is my energy? Even when I'm tired and I'm hurting, go out there, act like you're not. And that's, in my opinion, I feel like I've grown the most this spring in that. And just like I said, every day is just so important. Little details, writing my goals down every single day. So goal and process orientation has been everything for me.
Fenske, it's been so great to catch up with you, man. You look great out there. It's been fun to watch you guys practice, and appreciate you taking time and looking forward to the rest of the spring.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.